We're going to start with the feet just outside the hips, keeping a slight bend in the knees, and beginning with the head, we're going to roll all the way down to the floor, articulating the spine throughout. Go ahead and tuck that pelvis underneath, and we're going to roll all the way back up to standing. We're going to repeat this roll down 2 times through, articulating the spine, letting those shoulders hang low, all the way down to the floor, tucking that pelvis underneath, and rolling back up to standing. Go ahead and roll down last time. And back up to standing. We're going to take our hands, we're going to walk them down out into a downward dog position, pressing those heels and treading the feet, alternating with each step. Really press those heels down into the floor and try and keep an elongated spine throughout. Go ahead and come down to your knees. We're going to take one leg forward, keep that knee bent and over the midfoot as the hips press down and forward. Make sure the shoulders stay completely stacked over the hips and are not leaning too far back. If you want an increased stretch, tuck the back toe underneath and extend that leg all the way up. Rock back and forth lightly, making sure we keep that front knee over the midfoot. Go ahead and come down, and let's switch sides. Again, pressing that knee forward and those hips forward down into the floor. Hands can come to either side of the foot, toe tucks underneath, and extend that back leg up if you want an increased stretch. Lightly rocking forward and back, making sure that knee does not come past the front of that forward toe. Go ahead and come back to your knees. We're going to take one leg, put it directly out to the side of the hip, hands come to the floor in front of us, and we're going to rock those hips back towards the heel. You want to make sure that that toe stays directly down and touching the floor, facing directly forward. As you sit back into your heel with those hips, make sure you're only going back as far as your mobility will allow. Let's go ahead and switch sides. You should be feeling the stretch on the inside of your leg, particularly in the upper thigh. We're going to go ahead and sit all the way on the floor. You're going to take one ankle and cross it over the top of the knee, not on the joint, but just above, so it's resting on our quadricep muscle. Hands come behind us, and that bottom leg presses up. You want to make sure that you're not slouching in the lower back, and you want to sit up really tall on top of your sits bones. If you need to come down to your forearms in order to make that happen, that's totally fine. You can also walk that bottom leg farther out away from your body as well. You should feel the stretch on the outer hip and on the outside of that glute. Let's go ahead and switch sides. You want to make sure that the point of contact above your knee is going to be with that lower shin. You also don't want to be placing your ankle joint right on top of your quad. Let's go ahead and lay all the way flat on our back. Tuck one knee into your chest as the other extends all the way out. You're going to cross that knee across the body as your opposite arm opens up to the floor. You should be feeling this stretch rotation in your lower back, again making sure that we're only going as far over the top of our body as our mobility will allow. Let's go ahead and bring that leg back to center. Switch knees, bring that opposite knee into the chest, cross it up and over the body as that opposite hand comes down to the floor. Make sure you're breathing throughout this stretch, taking deep breaths in and out. Let's go ahead and bring that knee back to center. We're going to flip over onto our stomachs and press up into our grade 1 seal pose. Tuck the toes underneath, shoelaces against the floor, and press up on the forearms. If you want an increased stretch, go ahead and extend those elbows all the way up, making sure that we have our hands either facing outward or forward, but not back towards our body. You also want to make sure that your wrists are directly underneath your shoulder and your chest is pressing down and forward, not down and back into your lower back. Go ahead and press back into a child's pose position, rounding that lower back and relaxing into those hips. Let's go ahead and sit all the way up. Take that left arm, bring it across the body, grab above or below the elbow but not on the joint, and give a light tug, keeping that arm totally straight and slightly rolling out the wrists in either direction. You should feel this stretch through the upper arm and the bottom of that shoulder. Go ahead and switch sides. Again, make sure you're breathing throughout and trying to relax tension where it needs. Let's go ahead and take that left arm, bring the hand behind our upper back, and give a light press on that elbow, keeping it completely perpendicular with the floor. This is a great stretch to do after an arm day, particularly when you've worked your triceps. And let's go ahead and switch arms. Again, just pressing down very lightly on that elbow. Hands are going to come down to the floor and we're going to press down through the feet all the way up to a standing position. Go ahead and grab your left ankle, planting your foot on that right side and bringing that left knee underneath the hip, pulling up and out of that hip flexor. You really want to make sure that that knee is directly down, pointed to the floor. It helps me also to find a spot on the floor or on the wall to help balance. Focus on controlling your core throughout and really keeping that knee directly pointed down to the floor. Let's go ahead and switch sides. Again, making sure that knee is directly underneath the hip and not flaring out, and we're pulling straight and up and out through that core. We're going to go ahead and take your right leg out, flex that foot, opposite hand comes over to the toe as we lean with a flat back over, keeping a slight bend in that knee. You should feel this stretch in your hamstring very lightly. If you're feeling more of a strain, give yourself more of a bend in that knee or do not lean over quite so far. Let's go ahead and switch sides. You also want to be sure in this stretch that you're keeping both hips facing forward the entire time and not rotating forward or back as you complete this stretch. Let's go ahead and come all the way back up to a standing position. Reach those arms up and back down to the center of the chest. Deep breath, inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. Last time. And exhale down. And that is your 10-minute stretch.